Hey, welcome back to another episode of Not Enough Thumbs. This is number
95.
5 more, baby.
To 100.
That's right.
This is Life After Fighting from 2024, sponsored by
Hitbox Fitness.
Why do you do that?
Starring Bren Foster.
Is it really who it is?
Bren Foster, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Foster, Australian for beer. That's a bad Australian accent.
It really is. All right, so this is, I'm sure as you could tell from the title, a fighting movie.
It looked like a pretty mild fighting movie, maybe for the first half, or maybe the first third of it.
Yeah, 20 minutes or so.
It just looks like there's a little bit of family conflict with one of the newer attendees to his martial arts school. Bren Foster is the one leading the school. And it's a mixed martial arts school. Yeah.
So they do...
Yeah, their sign had everyone listed, except for
all
karate.
Karate.
What's that say about karate?
Yeah, so they have a lot of the different styles.
Yeah. And you later find out that there's a kidnapping happens, and then it gets pretty dark.
Well, it's not
here.
just a kidnapping.
Trafficking.
It's trafficking
Yeah.
of little girls.
So even darker.
Yeah. So major butt kicking happens in this movie. A lot of blood, a lot of gore, very brutal fighting.
And the thing is, the really brutal fighting is literally the last 10 minutes of the movie because...
But it's a lot in 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's like they made up for the non-brutal fighting that they did earlier in the movie.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal killing.
I think the fight scenes are pretty well choreographed. He gets a lot of hits on the guys.
He does, yeah.
So
he uses his martial arts to the max. I mean,
Yeah.
Every skill he knows, he pulled out on these guys. And these guys are trained also in martial arts.
that's right.
So it's not like he was fighting street fighting. He was fighting other very good martial arts
I think
people.
Guests noticed that too, in that these are not just guys that are
They're
out
not
after
amateurs.
one hit.
Yeah.
They put up a really good fight.
Yeah. And man, the longevity of the guy.
Oh my goodness.
Able to fight for that long. It had to be 20 minutes of just fighting.
Yeah, he was one guy.
After guy after guy after guy and taking them out. Some of these guys came back from the dead a couple times.
Multiple came back.
So
We thought, oh, that guy's done after maybe he breaks his neck on the table or
both
something.
arms broken, neck broken, legs broken, and he stands back up and starts fighting the guy.
It's like nightmare mode in Doom where they come back after 3 minutes.
Oh man, it was something. It was definitely something to watch.
It's with the crime that's committed of trafficking, it is justice well served at the end.
Yeah, I mean, yes, for sure. Because anybody that wants to take and do harm to children, in my book, deserves they got.
Even in movies, that's the worst thing I hate seeing in movies is when kids become victims of something.
Well, and it happens all the time when you hear about kids just coming up missing, and
very, very sad.
So there was one story I read recently. They were able to track this one kid that came up missing. Well, it was actually 2 kids and a mom all came up missing. They were immigrants, and the mom's phone was tracked, and they were tracking her across the country, headed south down through Texas.
And this is
you know what was happening. That was trafficking, real case of
occurrence.
trafficking that was happening. The phone was lost at the southern border of Texas.
Yeah.
They were not able to track it any further, which of course means that they confiscated the phone and she was taken across the border. So it's a shame. I mean, it's really
ugly stuff.
a dirty thing that this happens so often.
Last Blood is another movie where trafficking is a thing and justice is served at the end appropriately.
Yeah. Unfortunately, in real life, it's not always. They get away with it more often than not, which is quite a shame. there are task forces out there that are trying to
Sound of Freedom
get rid
was
of it. Sound of Freedom is a great movie
really
that
good movie.
Showcases the efforts that are being made to try to stop trafficking.
And I like how the end of that movie, it showed the actual footage of that not heist, that sting operation going down.
Yeah.
So it is good to see that there are some successes.
Yes. All right, so on to our rating. What do you rate Life After Fighting?
I would give this an 8 for, number one, for the fight scenes, because I think that's the primary motive for watching a martial arts movie. That's what you expect. That's why it's called a martial arts movie. And the story is pretty good too. And it's starring Brent Foster, who I realized after watching him fight, he's the same guy that did a documentary from a National Geographic show called Fight Science, where they featured ninjutsu, taekwondo, which is what Brent Foster did, jiu-jitsu. Gracie was on there, feature that. There was a boxer on there, and they attached measurement devices on all of them to see how hard they hit or how fast they move. Same guy, and that documentary was over 10 years ago.
Huh, I'll have to check that out.
It's kind of neat.
What
did I say? Did I say 8.5?
Yeah, you said 8.
8.5.
8.5. Okay. I'm not sure how to rate this one because the fight scenes were amazing. The talent was amazing in the fighting, but man, the brutality in the way these guys were killed. I had to turn away. I jumped and couldn't watch a couple of the scenes, and I think it was a bit over the top as far as that goes. They could have toned that down a little bit, I think, for a more sensitive audience. I think it was a little extreme. So that'll probably knock down my rating a little bit because I like it to be where I can tolerate watching it and get disgusted.
And enjoyable. Yeah.
So I probably give it a 6 out of 10.
I think John Wick had a lot of action with less of the brutality.
Yes.
Yeah.
The only thing I didn't like in that was all the language.
Oh my word, yeah. There's a lot.
But other than that, yeah. So, I mean, it's a good fighting movie. So if you're looking for a good fighting movie that serves justice, this would be good for that.
Yeah, you'll be surprised with the fight scenes.
All right, so that was Life After Fighting from 2024. Thanks for tuning in.
See you next time.